Picture this. You're a technician at a nuclear fuel processing plant. It's a Tuesday morning, completely routine. You've done this procedure dozens of times, preparing enriched uranium solution for fuel rods. Your supervisor called in sick, so it's just you and a coworker. The manual specifies a particular dissolution tank, but that tank is being serviced today. Your senior coworker suggests using the precipitation tank instead. It's faster. It's technically off protocol, but only barely. Nobody's ever had a problem. You lean over the tank and pour the third bucket of uranium solution in. You're watching the liquid settle, thinking about lunch, thinking about nothing in particular. And then you see it, a blue flash. Not an explosion, not a fireball, just a soft, beautiful, pale blue glow from the liquid, lasting less than a second. Your coworker looks at you. You look at him, then the nausea hits. Immediate. Like a wave rolling up from your stomach. Your skin feels warm. Your mouth fills with a metallic taste, like licking a battery. You're still standing. You feel okay. You will feel okay for a little while. That is the worst part. Oh, hey there. Today we're talking about radiation. Specifically what happens when you absorb a lethal dose of it. Unlike every other death on this channel, this one doesn't kill you in seconds. It gives you days, sometimes weeks, and in the cruelest cases, it makes you feel fine first. We're talking 0 white blood cells, 17 gray absorbed dose, 83 days of dying. Let's find out what it feels like when your own cells get erased from the inside out. Okay, before we get into the timeline of suffering, let's talk about what radiation actually does to you. Because this is not the radiation from your microwave. This is not UV rays. Ionizing radiation, the kind from a criticality accident or a nuclear source, carries enough energy to physically rip electrons off atoms. And when it does that inside your body, it breaks chemical bonds. Specifically, it shatters DNA strands in your cells. Now, your body breaks and repairs DNA constantly. That's normal. What's not normal is having billions of strand breaks happen simultaneously across every tissue in your body. Here's where the dose matters, and the unit you want to know is the gray. 1 gray equals 1 joule of energy absorbed per kilogram of tissue. Background radiation, the stuff you absorb just by existing on Earth, gives you about 0.003 gray per year. A chest x-ray gives you roughly 0.0001 gray. The LD50/30, the dose that kills 50% of people within 30 days without treatment, is about 4 to 5 gray. At 10 gray, you're looking at gastrointestinal syndrome, where your gut lining starts dying. At 50 gray and above, you get cerebrovascular syndrome, which means your nervous system starts failing within minutes. Fun fact, the technician at Tokaimura in 1999 absorbed an estimated 17 gray, standing next to a supercritical uranium mass for about 30 seconds. He survived that initial exposure. He lived for 83 more days. We'll come back to him. The reason bone marrow matters so much here is simple. Your bone marrow makes everything. White blood cells, red blood cells, platelets. It is your immune system's factory. Destroy it and you're not dead yet. But you are on a timer, first 30 seconds. You see the blue flash, and before you can even process what it is, your body's already taking the hit. That blue glow, by the way, is Cherenkov radiation. It's what happens when particles travel through water, faster than light moves through water. It is genuinely beautiful. It is also a signal that you have just been irradiated at a scale most humans never experience and survive long enough to describe. In that half second of light, ionizing radiation is passing through your entire body, and it is doing 2 things at once. First, it is directly shattering DNA strands in billions of cells. Second, it is ionizing the water molecules in your tissue because you are 60% water. And those ionized water molecules become hydroxyl free radicals, which then attack your proteins, your lipids, your DNA from the inside. The metallic taste in your mouth right now is your saliva being ionized. The warmth you feel on your skin is real. The nausea is your hypothalamus registering cellular damage on a scale it was never designed to handle. Your lymphocyte count, which should be around 2,000 cells per microliter of blood, has already begun to drop. You don't feel that. You won't feel that for a while. What you feel is nausea, warmth, and a deep wrongness that you cannot quite name. First 2 hours. The prodromal phase, which is the medical term for the body's initial response to radiation, hits you in full. You are vomiting. Not from a smell or a thought, but because your hypothalamus has detected the scale of cellular damage and pulled the emergency cord on your digestive system. The vomiting reflex at this dose can begin within 30 minutes. You have a headache. You are fatigued in a way that feels immediate and total, like someone turned down the brightness on your entire body. Here's the thing though, you are probably still walking around. You are probably being evaluated at a hospital, being told they are monitoring you. And physically, aside from the vomiting and the fatigue, you are largely intact. Your bone marrow is being destroyed right now. The stem cells that produce your entire immune system and blood supply are dying. You cannot feel that. There is no pain signal from bone marrow failure. It is completely silent, and here is where radiation separates itself from every other death mechanism. It gives you a window, a terrible false window. Day 2 through day 10. The latent phase. Your symptoms have largely resolved. The vomiting has stopped. You feel almost normal. You might feel genuinely okay. You go home, or at least you are moved to a calmer setting. You eat something. You sleep. And here is the cruelest joke your body will ever play on you. The existing blood cells in your system are still circulating. Red blood cells live about 120 days. Your body still has them. The infrastructure is still running. It is like a company that has fired every single employee, but the lights are still on and the coffee maker still works. Everything looks operational. Everything is not operational. Your lymphocyte count has been crashing this entire time. At a dose like 17 gray, it approaches 0 within a week. Your immune system is not weakened. It is being deleted. And you have enough cognitive function and enough medical information to understand exactly what that means. You just have to wait for your body to catch up. Day 10 through day 14. The collapse begins, and it begins fast. Your white blood cell count has hit the floor. What that means practically is that every bacterium currently living harmlessly in your gut, and there are trillions of them, is no longer being managed by your immune system. They begin crossing the gut lining into your bloodstream. This is sepsis, and it is starting from your own internal ecosystem. Your platelet count has crashed alongside your white cells because platelets also come from bone marrow, and your bone marrow is gone. Platelets are what stop you from bleeding. Without them, you bleed, not dramatically. Not from a wound. You bleed from your gums when you brush your teeth. You develop petechiae, which are tiny pinpoint hemorrhages under your skin, hundreds of them, spreading across your body like a rash made of burst capillaries. Your hair's coming out in handfuls in the shower. Your fever spikes because sepsis is now a full systemic event. And here's the thing. You are conscious for all of this. You know what each symptom means. You have had 10 days to read about it, day 14 through day 30. This is where the language starts to fail a little. At moderate doses, 4 to 8 gray, this is septic shock. Organ failure, cardiovascular collapse, loss of consciousness. It is painful and it is prolonged, and it is not gentle. At extreme doses, the Uchi doses, the skin itself becomes a problem. Your chromosomes are so thoroughly destroyed that your skin cells cannot replicate. The outer layers of skin begin to detach. Not from burns, from the inside out, because the cells beneath cannot replace the cells above. You lose fluid through your skin continuously. Liters of serum per day because the barrier that keeps fluid inside your body is failing at a cellular level. Doctors perform skin grafts. Your body rejects them because you have no immune system to support healing, and also no immune system to reject foreign tissue, which sounds like it might work out but does not. You require constant fluid replacement just to maintain blood pressure. At this stage, Hisashi Uchi, the technician from Tokimura, was documented saying he could not take it anymore. That he was not a guinea pig. He was kept alive for 83 days. The ethics of that decision are still debated. Okay, but what does this actually feel like because we have covered the biology? Now let's talk about the experience, and specifically about what makes radiation different from almost anything else on this channel. With most rapid deaths, there is a mercy. The trauma is so fast that your nervous system never catches up. Radiation does not offer that. The initial exposure is painless. The prodromal phase feels like bad flu. The latent phase feels like recovery. And then the manifest illness phase is pain that is total, progressive, and fully conscious. Survivors of lower doses, people who absorbed 2 to 3 gray and recovered, describe the metallic taste as immediate and unmistakable, the nausea as unlike ordinary illness, and the psychological experience of the latent phase as surreal and deeply frightening. You feel fine. You know you should not feel fine. That gap between sensation and knowledge is its own specific kind of suffering. At lethal doses, there is no mercy phase, no moment where your brain shuts off before your body catches up. The body's deterioration is slow enough that your nervous system is present for most of it. The question is not whether you suffer, the question is for how long. So what happens after? Globally, deaths from acute radiation syndrome outside of nuclear weapons use are extraordinarily rare. The Chernobyl disaster produced 134 confirmed cases of acute radiation syndrome among emergency workers and plant staff, and 28 of them died within months. A handful of criticality accidents, Tokaimura, Los Alamos in 1946, a few others, account for most of the documented individual cases. The facility gets sealed. The patient, if they make it to a hospital, is treated in isolation because their bodily fluids are radioactive waste. Dosimetry records get reviewed. Regulatory agencies investigate. Safety protocols get rewritten. OSHA equivalent agencies in whatever country it happened in produce a report that will be read by approximately 40 people and cited in training materials for the next 30 years. You become a case study. A reason why criticality protocols exist and why shortcuts to save 40 minutes on a Tuesday morning are specifically, explicitly, and repeatedly prohibited in every nuclear handling manual ever written. You became an example, the expensive kind. So there you have it. Radiation, 1 second of blue light, 83 days to finish the job, the most patient killer on this channel, and the only one that gives you time to understand exactly what is happening. The latent phase, your body's final act of false hope, is what separates this from everything else. You feel okay right up until you very much do not. Hit subscribe if you want to keep exploring the worst ways to die, and if you ever find yourself near a precipitation tank that is very much not rated for what someone is about to put in it, maybe take the day off